Welcome, everyone. It's GoalChat time. Woohoo! I don't know why I said that, but it just felt right. I'm Debra Eckerling, creator of the Deb Method for Goal Setting Simplified. I'm also the author of your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to chime into the topic. And because I also host Taste Buds with Deb, every other month we do a food show just because we can and we love it and whatever. So I am absolutely thrilled today. I have my dear friend Katie Jen, celebrity chef, awesome human, and one of the secrets and 52 secrets for goal setting and goal getting. And so always glad when we get to catch up, Katie.
Always a
We
pleasure.
and we also have Jessica Fishenfeld, who I recently interviewed for Taste Buds with Deb for her Bagels and Banter. So she is on the host realm. I love it. So we've got chef, host, and then Babette Pepaj, who I've known for eons and ages, who, shall we say, a food app developer. Is that she's the founder of BakeBot.ai?
And also Bakespace.com as well. So I would say food community or community driven recipes.
Okay, I like that. But the funny part is I spoke at Tech Munch years ago, and that was before I was a reformed non-cook.
Oh.
So it was back when I was dialing for dinner on the regular. And so I love how, especially with social, our lives intersect and we interact and it's just cool. So this is my favorite form of networking. So every week I bring together some awesome peeps to dive into the topic. And you might be watching us live. You might be listening to us as the GoalChat podcast or watching the replay. However you found us, we are so glad you're here. And we're going to have so much fun talking about food today. I feel like we should start talking about food. But before we do that, everybody only knows you're awesome. They don't actually know who you are. So why don't you all introduce yourselves and we'll go from there. Katie.
Hi there. I'm Chef Katie Chen. I am a caterer. I have a business called Walkstar Catering. I'm a cookbook author. I've written 5 cookbooks, my last being Katie Chen's Global Family Cookbook. Let's see. I'm also a commissioner for the City of Los Angeles for the LA Board of Tourism. I'm the culinary ambassador for the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation. I'm also on the board of Teach AAPI and She Angels, and I also am a playwright. I wrote a one-woman show called Holy Shiitake, A Walk Star is Born, which I'm performing again in Los Angeles on October 12th. So I hope you guys can join.
You missed one.
I love that. Sorry, I had to interject.
You missed your TEDx.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm also I'm a recent TEDx speaker. I just spoke at TEDx Fargo about 4 weeks ago in front of 600 people, and that will be uploaded to the platform, I think, in about a month. So follow me on social and you can check it out.
Very cool. Very exciting.
Oh, wait. Can I say the name of my TEDx talk?
Of course you can.
It's called Dumplings Release My Demons, How Food Can Heal Generational Trauma.
Love that. Love it so much. And I know I do a lot of things. I always feel so lazy when I talk to you because you like multiply it like a gazillion.
No, I have a OAAG, overachieving Asian gene.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have that one. I just have the creative spirit and the organizational. So I like to do lots of different things because Deb don't want to be bored, but she also, what do I love? I love food and goals, and here we are today. So yay. And any chance we get, you and I get to stay in one place and have a conversation is a good day. Jessica, welcome. Happy to have you here.
Hello. So excited to be back so soon, Deb. I know this is a different topic than what our last interview was, but so thrilled to be included in this chat. So I'm from New York originally, Long Island, represent, and Manhattan, and moved to LA 2 years ago. I'm a opera singer, actor, and the host of Bagels and Banter. I became a very minor bagel influencer since moving to LA and having my strong New York opinions on what bagels should be. and started reviewing bagels around LA, and people trusted my opinion and wanted more of it. And so I created a whole web series called Bagels and Banter, and I am the host. So yes.
I love
And-
that.
And I just put the link to our Taste Buds with Deb interview that will also be in the recap post. Yeah, it's why wouldn't I have my awesome Taste Buds people also on GoalChat? And I remember I interviewed you a couple months ago, and then you were traveling, and I'm like, okay, wait, I'm gonna do food in August. Let's just get you on in August.
Yeah.
And here we are.
You
So
booked me
really good
that
to
day.
see you. And you and I are both proof that you can have a food career does not necessarily mean cooking.
Yes, exactly. We could just be really judgy about food and make a whole career out of that too.
Oh, yeah, I don't do that yet, but maybe I should learn to. It's really funny. Every now and then someone's like, Deb, give me your recipe recommendations. And I'm like, no, I just like to cook. Oh, well, are you going to cook for me? No, I like to cook for mine. So it's,
Yeah.
I have a little slippery slope here, but it's when you love food, you find a way to make it the heart of your career. I think that's the point. And I
Totally.
think I successfully roped myself back into what the topic is. So, Babette, welcome. Great to see you.
Hello. It's always a pleasure to be on your show. I really appreciate it. I am Babette Pepaj. I'm the founder of Bakespace.com. In 2006, I launched the first food-themed social network. So imagine Facebook was, like nowhere yet. MySpace was like at the height of everything, and there really wasn't any place that connected home cooks in real time. Everything was like a forum or a big social site. And I was a television producer for about 15 years, and I took a cake decorating class, and I thought, oh my God, like what is this community? I really loved it. I loved being part of making something delicious, but the just the warmth of the people who food attracts. I thought, like, this is actually my people. So I gotta check this out. And so then I launched in 2006 Bakespace. 2010, I launched the first traveling food blogger conference. So then I realized we had learned so much in how to build our business that I thought I can help food bloggers do the same thing. And it was at the height of when food bloggers, 2010, when food blogging really like started hitting a great stride. And then we started doing big food events. I did Bake Camp LA, I did Cupcake Camp LA, a lot of charity run organizations. So food events where you pay for a fee, come and get some tastings from some local chefs, and then it goes to charity. So that's been really fun. And then our latest, most ambitious thing that we've built is called BakeBot.ai, and it's basically a kitchen assistant that helps you with every part of the cooking process. So it's not just creating a recipe, but it's like pointing your camera at your fridge and saying, what can I make with what I have right now? Or talking to you. Yeah, it talks to you. It's really fun. It's been a real, I always thought with Bakespace, like we have over 1 million members. We have like 150,000 member submitted recipes. And the inspiration for going into AI wasn't just about recipe creation. It was about how do I help the home cooks we had on the platform answer their questions in real time of how to make a recipe. Like they'll come to a recipe and they'll have 1 million questions. So that's been my leap into AI, and it's been really fun. So I'm glad I'm here. I'm really interested in bagels. So I have like 1 million questions, but I feel like I'm in really good company. So I appreciate you guys welcoming me.
That's very cool.
Awesome. Well, so happy to have you here. And like I said, it's kind of fun because we've got 2 food show hosts, a community builder, and a Katie who does like a little bit of everything. And I feel like you all answer this, but I'm going to ask it more directly. But why be in the business of food? I mean, it's hard. I mean, we love it, but I'm sure Katie can attest because in her secret in 52 Secrets is never dream harder than you work. It's not the easiest business, but when you have the love for it, maybe I answer the question. No, you answer the question. Why be in the business of food?
Well, I'm happy to start because I probably have the shortest answer because I'm very much at the beginning of my journey in the business of food. because this kind of started as just a social media thing. And as I build my show, I've been collaborating with bagel shops, but I eventually would love to like provide content for them, as a business. And so I'm right now kind of building my tools and my credibility to be able to help these shops in a more like meaningful and like business forward way. So I am still aspiring to be in the business of food.
Okay, and so, well, since I'm still going to make you answer the question,
Okay.
what inspired being in the business of food? It was bagels, right?
It was bagels. Yeah. I really had no other like that was my 100% entryway into the business of food, because I just found it's kind of like you don't know what you have till it's gone situation. Like moving to LA, I'm like, in New York, I knew exactly where to go to get my favorite bagels. I knew all the good spots in Manhattan and Long Island. And moving to LA, it was like a genuine, like, oh my God, this thing is gone from my life. And it created a hole. And
Roan, if you're listening, there
But
are
Paul.
hand gestures. Okay, go on.
yeah. And I realized that I needed to make this part of my life in a bigger way. And so bagels are my direct link to food industry for sure. And then it started branching out into like bagel adjacent things like babka. I'll like review some like Jewish desserts, and like I'm about to go to the new owners of New York Bagel Deli and Bakery in Santa Monica invited me to come try their new like creative bagel flavors and their desserts. And so I've been sort of branching out into desserts as well, which is very exciting because I love desserts and I have a big sweet tooth.
Nice. Okay, Babette, why be in the business of food? I mean, I know you found it because you needed an outlet with nice people, but what beyond that? Or did I just answer your question? I have to start letting you answer your own
I
question.
almost answered it earlier, but I'll just add a little bit to it. Food is really like a super niche. Everyone talks about, how cute food is or how nice food is and all this stuff, but it's like something that every single person does every single day, multiple times. I mean, I don't know any other product. Maybe toilet paper is the only thing that somebody needs every single day. So I think there's so many different things with dietary needs, and there's a way to find your tribe and people who have similar. I remember I went on a wonderful cupcake tour around Los Angeles with like 10 people. We did not know each other, and they had I think it was sponsored by a car company, but they put us in the car and then they took us around and all these different cupcake shops, and it was so much fun being a part of that I think that that's one thing that food helps you with. It's like you have to eat every single day. You pick with your eyes, you pick with your nose, and you look and you go, oh my God, that looks delicious. I want to try that. So you're always open to something new. You're always open to a new recipe. You're always open to a new restaurant. And I don't know a lot of other businesses or niches that appeal to literally everybody. So I think that's why it attracts a variety of people, and it definitely attracted me to. I just made a banana nut bread with cinnamon for the first time, and I was like, "Where has this recipe been my whole life?" And now I'm all excited about banana nut bread. So it's like, what is going on? So I think that's one thing that food can do, is it really can spark, and like an inspiring moment where you go, "Wow, that tasted delicious. I want to go back there."
Okay, and fun fact, in the interview I did with Jessica on Taste Buds, banana bread was her recipe. And I said, "Oh, are you going to rename your show Bagels and Banter and Banana Bread?"
Oh,
Anyway.
Actually, for SEO, you could do that, because there's a lot of people who search for banana nut bread every single month. So
really? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm,
also, so glad you discovered this putting cinnamon in it, because I mean, like my mom's recipe calls for like a teaspoon, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon or something. I dumped so much more in there. I'm like, you can never have enough garlic or cinnamon. Fight me on that point.
You know, a friend stayed with me for a couple of weeks, and I didn't realize I found it in my cabinet, but she gets the Trader Joe's pumpkin pie spice. And
Ooh.
I discovered it, and I was like, "Ooh, what can I make with that?" I'm like, "Did you leave this?" She said, "Yeah." So it's there's always there's always something fun to explore. So I think about that. Think about adding that to it.
Ooh, I will.
Okay, Katie, why be in the business of food?
Well, as Babette said, it brings together, the most loving, kind people because people that are attracted to the food business are, inherently nurturers, I feel. I specifically did not want to work in the food business for many years because I grew up in my mother's restaurant and catering business. And while all the other kids were ice skating or at the mall in Minnesota, where I'm from, I was trapped in a basement frying chicken pieces. And I was like, I am never working in the food business and I'm getting the hell out of here. But it's a very long story, which my whole one woman show is about. But much later in life, I realized my true purpose was to honor her culinary legacy. And when I finally figured out my purpose in life, it became my passion. And I worked in the entertainment industry for 14 years doing film and TV marketing. And once I pivoted to food, my life has just become so much richer. And you're fulfilling people, you're making their mouths and their bellies and their brains happy. And, it's a great gift to be able to do that.
I agree. The other thing that I love in particular about food is you are never at a loss for conversation anywhere. You could be in line at a store. You could just be gathering with strangers at an event, and all you have to do is say the F word, food, and you will find an immediate connection. I mean, I'm rarely at a loss for words anyways, but what I found was really interesting is when I first launched Taste Buds, I would tell people about this show, and then it didn't matter what we were supposed to talk about. They would go into a 30-minute tangent. And I just thought that was the coolest thing because everybody has their own connection to it. And so Katie, I'm going to say, instead of what is your earliest food memory, what is your earliest joyful food memory?
I'm gonna say, making dumplings with my mom when I was maybe 5. That was such a wonderful moment in time for me that I think about now that I have taught my own children how to make dumplings and how much meaning was behind the actual folding and pleating and stuffing of the dumplings. There was just so much history and love behind that. And, uh, you know, subtext just in the motion and dedication and her, teaching me. There was so much more behind it than just like, this is my recipe for dumplings, if that makes any sense. But I will say that is probably my favorite food memory.
Ah, that's lovely. And it's one that you've been able to pass down, obviously. And doesn't your daughter have the cooking gene desire? I know for a while you guys
Yes.
did a show together.
Yes, during COVID, we had a show called Cooped Up Cooking with Katie and Becca that we did 3 times a week during COVID because I get bored easily. And she was much younger. She was like 9 and she was super shy in the beginning. And then as time went on, she got super bossy with me. She was like, I'll do it. Like, push me out of the way. I'll do it. And then we came back to LA because we moved away for a bit. We came back to LA and she was more teenagery at this point. We're doing a lot. Okay, we're in the middle of a live show. Okay. She goes, I'll be right back. And she's gone for like 10 minutes. I'm like, where did she go? And my husband goes, she's in her room on her phone. But like the whole audience by this point, like fell in love with Becca and they thought she was hilarious. So, they were sort of in on the joke. In any case, I'm like, I'm not going to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. So she's sort of hung up her apron. But now that she's going into her senior year, she has taken culinary in high school and she really loves it. And, we'll see. I see her more of a producer because she's super bossy.
And you also do a different food show. You do Small Bites on Instagram.
Yes, I have my own show that Deb has been on several times. It's called Small Bites with Chef Katie Chen on Wednesdays at 5 on Instagram. So it's a Q&A interview show.
Yes. Well, we had fun. Well, and as I mentioned, the host before, I somehow did not met. Oh my goodness, how could I miss one of the Katie things? But
Okay.
that's the other thing. It's always something like on Taste Buds. I don't always have chefs on my show. I have people who love food, and I think that's
Yes.
part of that joy as
Yes,
well.
absolutely. Because everybody loves food and everybody loves talking about food.
And even if they don't like to cook, boy, do people who don't like to cook have opinions. That's something I've been, as a reformed non-cook, I am aware. What about you, Babette? What is your earliest food memory? Joyful food memory?
Joyful food memory. I keep having like two recipes come to mind. I remember when I was a kid, we were pretty limited with our resources. But I remember with my mom, this is not the memory, but this is like one thing that's funny. She one time bought all the Chex cereals, and I had like every flavor. And I remember coming home and being like, "Look at what I have!" Just so stupid. But my fondest memories are actually with my grandmother, and she would make these two like recipes. She would take vanilla ice cream and she would just stir it until it was soft. And like that was like the way she ate ice cream. And so it stuck in my head. And I don't know why she did that, but she just did it over and over. And my mom does that too. And then the second thing is my favorite recipe in the whole world is a pasta recipe with butter and stewed tomatoes. And that's all that's in it. And it's like if I am sad or if I need like a pick me up or I feel depressed or if I just am like I'm PMSing and I'm like I need something delicious, if I make that recipe, it's like instant like oh, I'm home. It's like a meal I cannot mess up, and it just brings me back to that. So I would say that that's my favorite recipe ever.
Ah, that's such a good memory. I go straight to soup.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what soup was. Well, that was like my gateway to starting my love of cooking with the Instant Pot. But at a certain, it's the way the house smells like
Mm.
love.
Mhm.
So it's also the way that if I'm missing my mom, I make soup. There she is. So and
Do you
then of
use her
course,
recipes?
oh, for chicken soup there are no recipes.
Okay.
For chicken soup in the Instant Pot,
Okay.
it is water, vegetables, chicken, and then you put in the things and turn it on. Yeah. So that is just like it's whenever I make chicken soup, I feel like it's in her honor just by default anyway.
Oh.
So there you go. And now how Jewish is chicken soup? And I know everybody's got a chicken soup anyway.
That's true. That's true. That's actually the one great equalizer. It's like you go to anyone's home and they're like, I have some chicken soup for you. And you're like, this is great. It's like you go to any country and you're like, it's chicken soup. It's chicken soup.
Jessica, early food memory?
Okay. So I guess this is a little bit of a two-parter. So one of my earliest memories making food was with my grandma. We were making one of her famous cakes, and I was doing the stir, like the automatic mixer, and I don't know why I forgot to turn it off, but I like pulled it out of the bowl, and it just got like stuff everywhere, like all the batter all over. And I was like, oh my God, she's gonna yell at me. And she just laughed. And it was like, it was almost like a traumatizing memory. And then it turned into a joyful one because she was just like laughed at me and was like, don't worry about it. And it was her cake was, it was nothing like from scratch. It was like the cheapest, like Duncan Hines, like whatever was the cheapest, like chocolate, like dark chocolate cake mix from the grocery store, and she would make it in one heart pan or whatever. Maybe she had two, but it was a double layer cake in a shape of a heart, and she would put raspberry jelly in the center. And she would cut a piece for my brother and me, and we would put it in little plastic baggies and go for a walk in this what felt like kind of like a secret park. It was like very overshaded with like trees, and it was near their house, and it felt like we were going on like an adventure with our little cake.
That's beautiful.
That's lovely. And so I have to ask, Katie, do you have any cooking fails
Oh my
that
goodness,
you're comfortable sharing?
I mean, so many, because when I decided to become a chef, I was under my mom's tutelage, I guess. I mean, I was like in my late 30s when this all happened. And honestly, like, first of all, catering is not for sissies. Okay. It is hard work. It is hard work,
I
but
worked
it
as a
is,
dinner waiter in New York.
like but it's quite rewarding. But it's like, oh my God, I went from like traveling all over the world for Fox to like lugging leaking bags of
Oh my God.
trash up steps. I'm like, oh my God. Um, so with that being said, when I, sort of like sprouted my own wings and flew from my mom's bird's nest soup, I, it's just like trying to do some things on my own. But like the amount of hilarious catering stories, things that happen that people have no idea. Like, as long as nobody knows what's going on, it's fine. But I mean, I've had things totally catch on fire. I've had like, an entire pot of marinade like fall onto the floor. And then you're like, oh shit. But there's always a way to improvise. There's always shortcuts that you can take. Again, as long as people are enjoying themselves, they don't want your drama. They don't need to know that you're just had like some huge mishap. You know what I mean? But for example, that event you came to that we did on the top of the Everly Hotel, I did a sort of like a White Lotus 3 themed party. It was like one night in Bangkok. Deb, like,
Oh,
those people were animals. They ate all the food in like 45 minutes, and it was a 2-hour long party. And I was looking at everybody in my kit. We were looking at each other like, what the, like, like, what is going on? So I sent one of my sous chefs to Trader Joe's, and then we just like, I don't know, we made shit up. But you know what? Nobody seemed to notice or
I
care.
didn't
And
know.
all was fine. And then one time I was catering, oh my God. It was like this huge executive at ABC. I was catering at their house, and I hadn't catered for a long time because I had had my twins and whatever. I was just kind of like getting my sea legs back. And I'm making skewers, and he had one of those like wooden cutting boards next to the burner, and it like caught on fire. Like the
Oops.
cutting board caught on fire. It was like next to the thing. And the guy was looking for chocolate sauce for us. So his back was like this, and the whole thing was on fire. And I'm like, and then one of my sous chefs just comes over and goes like this with a towel, like,
oh my God.
and the whole thing came
Did
out
you notice?
before he turned around.
Ah!
No, he didn't notice.
That
That's
belongs in a
awesome.
TV show.
Oh my
That's
God,
so funny.
it was
Oh my God,
traumatizing.
that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Funny.
there was a time I got attacked by cows on a catering gig, and they ate all my food at a Playboy shoot. Anyway, that's for another time.
Or for a later time. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, all I got was the time I tried to make grilled cheese in a pop-up toaster.
Oh.
Oh, it dripped all in there.
No.
Yeah,
Wait,
I grew
were
up
you an
in.
adult or were you like 12?
I was 10.
Okay.
We had toaster ovens growing up. And when we were in LA for the summer, we had a borrowed toaster, and I did not realize what would happen. Oops. Maybe that's why I became a non-cook. I was so traumatized by the gooiness of the. Anyway, I always like the shopping. I like the shopping, I like the prep, but the joke before I started loving to cook was if it's round or it did not require fire, Deb could do it.
Okay.
Yep. I could do salads.
Sounds like a bagel. It's round.
I could do salads, I could do pancakes, I could do pizza.
That's funny.
That was about it. Anyway, what about you, Babette? Do you have any good food disaster stories?
My most embarrassing thing ever was I was actually, when you're thinking about the catering thing, I was thinking about my wedding and I had a disaster, but that's besides the point. No, I wanted to make fresh strawberry cupcakes, and they're very hard to do when you make them fresh. You should just use a box because it's like impossible, and unless you're like a genius, and I'm not. And I made them, but I did something wrong with the recipe. I don't know. They tasted terrible, and I knew they tasted terrible, and I should have used my own instincts. But instead, I had my sister, who my sister like wants to just say whatever is going to make me happy. So I said, "What do you think of these?" And she's like, these are good." And I said, "No, they're terrible. We're going to a potluck." And my boyfriend at the time, who became my husband, came over and he's like, "I'll try them." And he's like, "Oh." And then Nicole, my sister's like, "Tell her these are good. She should take these." And so I took them with me to the potluck.
Oh no.
I had some good cupcakes, and then I had the strawberry ones, right? So they're sitting down there at the table. And the worst thing was, there was a woman who was talking to my husband, or my boyfriend at the time. And, they're talking or whatever. And Eric goes to grab one of the cupcakes. And she goes, "Shh, I have a secret." And she's like, "They're terrible." It's like she didn't realize that he's with me,
Oh my
Like, oh my God, Eric! Like people are walking around the party going, "This thing sucks."
Oh
So
my
I
God.
will never, ever, 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 ever bring something that if I taste it and it's bad, just to be like, no, I done.
That's a good rule of thumb.
And I should never listen to teenagers because they just tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah. Someone you're dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they hide in their room while you're in the middle of a live show. You just never know. And for those who tuned in last week, Eric Deutsch, who is part of the conversation on visibility, that is the husband that Babette is referencing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
Obviously, I didn't hurt him because he's still with us.
Oh,
That's good.
he came back for more.
Poison him.
That's great. Okay, any adult cooking traumas, Jessica, or shall we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say traumas, but I was on a big kick with because I'm also a fitness professional. I forgot to mention that. I wear many hats. I'm a personal trainer, and I was on a kick with making desserts, protein desserts. And I was like, I found this recipe for protein tiramisu.
Ooh.
And it was the coffee was there, but so you took a protein pancake batter and soak that in the coffee, and then you use Greek, non-fat Greek yogurt as the icing. And it was so it took so long to make and then was so disgusting. I was so sad that I just needed to throw it all out because I was like, I can't eat it. Me and my boyfriend, who was at the time from Italy. So tiramisu is good tiramisu. And this was the bottom of the barrel, worst thing I've ever made. So.
Oh, and that must have been the worst part. It took so much time. You wanted it not to suck.
Yeah, I really gave it
a
few tries. I'm like, maybe I can stomach it. I put all this effort into it, and it was just, we're like, we have to throw this out. This is really bad.
Yeah. I think it for the same reason that if you eat something and you love it so much that you don't want it to end, so you put away some leftovers so you have some later. It's the opposite side of the coin is this thing that is so terrible, but you feel bad because you put so much time and energy. You're like, there's got to be something. Okay, so Chef Katie, how do you fix bad things?
Ooh, well, I mean, it just depends on how bad it is and what the problem is. You know what I mean? Usually, if you're doing a sauce and it's too salty, you can balance that out with maybe something sweet or some acid and, try to balance it out that way. Sometimes you can salvage things. Other times you just can't. You just have to understand that it's not going to work out. But I'm going to say, in my experience, especially, for example, if I'm catering and my sous chef accidentally put in sugar instead of salt, you can figure it, temper, but you have to constantly be tasting your work. And that's what, I'm trying to teach my daughter, Becca. She just made orange sauce for catering job I had the other day, and I was like, well, did you taste it? She's like, no. I'm like, you have to taste your work, because you just don't know, because there's human error, and it might not even be your fault. Like maybe somebody labeled it salt, but it actually is sugar.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like 90% of the time you can fix it. It just depends on what it is, obviously. Like I remember my mother had passed away, and it was my first big catering gig without her. And I made these tuna rolls with like sashimi grade tuna wrapped in sushi rice, and then spring roll wrapper and deep fried. They're so delicious, because then the tuna just gets slightly cooked on the outside, but then it's like raw on the inside. So delicious. Anyway, I just did not do it properly. I don't know what I did. And they were exploding in the oil, like like exploding. And then I remember one of my sous chefs turned around. She goes, "We miss your mom a lot." I'm like- and then it was like I was channeling her, and what I heard her say to me was like, just rewrap it, like wrap it again, grab their wrappers, wrap it again, and then it was fine. So you
Yeah.
have to think on your feet. But luckily, most cooking fails that have happened to people have happened to people. So if you Google it, there's usually some kind of solution.
Okay. Good to know.
Yes, absolutely. Google is your friend. Or does BakeBot have a solution? Is there functionality, Babette, where you go in and
Yes.
you say, I messed this up, fix me?
I was just gonna say that's what I use BakeBot for. No, you can literally you can talk to it, you can tell it what recipe you're on and where you went wrong, and it will modify the recipe. So like sometimes,
Wow.
like when I was doing a lot of the testing early on, I would try to break it. I'd try to be like, I have no eggs, I have no flour, I have no chocolate chips, I have no sugar. How can I make cookies?
Like,
Right?
go to the
Yeah,
store,
and go to the
buy
store.
some cookies.
And then the funny thing is that I would make whatever it said to make. I was like, okay, I'm going to use coconut oil. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And for me, my palate, I love sweets. So if it's sweet, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I can get through it. My
Mhm.
husband is like, no, this is not good. And so in my mind, I was like, let me see how far I can push this. But seriously, now you have so many tools, but definitely BakeBot. You can literally just say, like, either speak to it or show it and say, I'm making this recipe. I don't have any, I don't know, buttermilk. Like, what can I do? And it could say, you can make your own buttermilk, or whatever it is, the situation. Or it can say, well, and not only the biggest problem with recipes too is that when you make modifications, it sometimes it affects the rest of the recipe. So it's like you might have to adjust another ingredient because it's too dry, it's too wet, whatever it is. But it can then change the entire recipe and give you the exact amounts. Because if you ever I have not been to culinary school, but I've talked to many people who have, and they said the hardest part of culinary school is when you make a modification in a recipe, figuring out the exact amounts and how that affects everything. So it does all the work and all the math for you. So I definitely try it. You can try it on Bakespace.com on any recipe page. We have the little chat bot. And then we also have it on BakeBot.ai. You can it doesn't cost anything. You don't even have to have an account to be able to use it. So definitely, if you have an emergency, you can Google, but also come check it out.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of feel like I want to see what I can do to break it.
Oh.
I think that's hilarious.
Well, I had to. I was like, let me see how far I can go. And then when my husband's like, no, these are not good. I'm like, what are you talking about? These are delicious cookies. He's like, they're doughy. They're not even cooked all the way. But I have experimented with a whole bunch of great recipes. And the banana nut bread is one that I actually had it make for me. And so I'm starting to realize that you can invent your own thing, but at the same time, it does tap into all of our recipes too. So it's like, if you want to make a modification, I'm vegan, or I don't like these kinds of nuts or whatever, it's really easy to do that.
Okay. Now, what is your most adventurous? What would you consider your most bizarre cooking adventure?
Me?
Well,
Yeah.
I want to. So I'm looking at you, Jessica. Well, I mean, we'll get back to you, Babette. She's
Yeah. I have to
thinking.
think about this. I have to think about
Yeah, she's and I'm not quite sure where Katie went, but hopefully
Oh, no,
she
I hope
will log back
I
on.
feel like we need the chef for this one.
Well, okay. Well, I'll let you. Shall we move on to another question and circle back to that one?
Probably. I mean, I can give an answer. It might not be the best one. So maybe we circle back. Maybe we circle back.
Okay. Well, this is kind of going back to the topic of business of food, even though, we love all the disaster stories. I feel like, and this for me was like the gateway. I got the Instant Pot and realized you could put in ingredients and then get things done, and then you're rewarded with the meal. So as soon as cooking became easy, I was able to incorporate it into my life. And once it's incorporated into my life, I realized there are extreme benefits to having food as part of my life, as in, with the exception of BakeBot, cooking is the one thing you need to be disconnected in order to fully enjoy, to be in the moment. We don't have enough of those things. So, what do you feel is the biggest benefit to being to the other parts of your life, to being in the business of food?
Wait, I didn't get. I wait. I'm thinking about the question.
feeding others.
Okay,
When they
what do you feel is the biggest benefit, non-food related,
Oh,
being in the
non-food related.
business of food?
Okay.
Non-food related.
Okay. Honestly, like connecting to like my Jewish culture more. Is that an okay answer? Like, is that route okay? Because I know like food is very much part of the Jewish culture and every culture. But I found like just by specializing in bagels, like I have an account just for like Bagel Queen Jess, and I really only follow like either like bagel makers or bakeries and like Jewish culture things. And it just kind of like created this little ecosystem for me of like being more connected in like the Jewish community in a way that I hadn't really experienced before. And it's been like a really beautiful, um, a beautiful like kind of awakening in my culture for me. And I have a guest that I'm going to have on my show that's like a big like Jewish influencer that I'm not going to say yet because it's not confirmed, but it's like it's been a really cool discovery in connecting with people who are like big in the Jewish culture and supporting each other and yeah, all from bagels.
Awesome. So the question I asked Katie is, what are the benefits, the non-food related benefits to being in the business of food?
Well, you get to meet so many awesome people. For me, I've met just such amazing people that have just really enriched my life in so many ways, personally and professionally. And a lot of the people that I've met in the food business have then in turn have really helped me and supported me in my one-woman show and possible adaptation as a television series. So I would say more than anything else, it's just the people that I've met have just really enriched my life in so many ways.
And we met because our friend David at the Braid said, "Oh, you need Katie on Taste Buds," and that was
exactly.
And we've only this blows my mind. We've known each other like less than a year and a half, and we've been. Isn't that so? When you find your people, they are your people, and especially when they are food people. Right?
Yes. And I feel like, more often than not, food people are just willing to help, willing to support, willing to, do whatever they can to help you, and also just want to eat with you. When you meet a fellow food lover, they're like, let's go eat, let's go try something new. Let's, break bread together.
Absolutely. Okay, so Babette, what for you has been the biggest non-food related benefits of being in the business of food?
I think I keep going back to the animal charities that we've helped with our big food tasting events. The idea that we can host a cupcake or a cookie event, and it can attract all these people who want cookies and want cupcakes and want something sweet and share with their families. but then that it translates into something that is bigger. It changes a community, or it changes, like, literally saving their lives of puppies that were rescued either at the event or by donating money to the different charities. We've worked with many different charities: homeless charity, turtle charity. Our last one was with Paw Works, and one of my friends actually adopted one of the dogs from one of our cupcake events, and so I get to see it all the time, and I get to see this beautiful dog, and I think, oh my God! Like, not only did the rescue make a decision to take that dog on, but it's like my friends came to the event, and then the dog is going home with them. I mean, that is. And they were just coming for cookies. They didn't expect to go home with a dog. But I think that stuff like that, you go to a potluck, you go to a school function, people bring food, somebody, passes away, and you go to your neighbors and you bring them a casserole. Like, food always is that, like, connecting. It goes bigger. It solves a bigger problem than just, I'm going to feed someone today. It's like, it's amazing.
And can I piggyback off of that with a comment, with an experience? It also lures people in like during my recitals that I've given, my classical voice recitals, like my senior recital, my graduate recital, like I always, like, it was always really important, and my family helped me with this, to get it, like, catered, to have a nice spread afterwards, because I want to invite people to, like, enjoy the music with me, but then, like, they get to be rewarded for, like, for listening to me all night. It's like, it's like a beautiful way to celebrate something all together. And I think it just adds, like, you don't always want to go to, like, a senior recital, but, like, there's going to be, like, a
bribery. You're saying food and bribery.
Yes.
Food to help others, food for connection.
Exactly. And, like, all I'm saying is that there was a line out the door for my graduate recital.
And it was because of the food. Well, it's a bridge, it's a conversation starter, it's a way to get to know people better. It is a topic that everybody can chime into. And as we said before, the people who I know who don't cook have probably almost as strong as opinions about cooking as those of us who love it. So it's just, and it's safe. It's like a safe topic in this really bizarre world we're living in. But I feel like I'm gonna this time I'm going to reel myself in from the tangent. What has been your most bizarre, rewarding food or cooking experience?
Right. We're back to this. And
yes, that was the other question you mentioned, Katie. They could not answer without your inspiration.
It can be bizarre or rewarding, or bizarre
or
and
both.
rewarding.
Or both.
Or both.
Dealer's choice. Answerer's choice.
Okay. Then maybe I'll give you a chance to think. And I'll give mine. It was kind of like the first time I actually, like, cooked in, like, college. And it was, I was going home for one of the Jewish holidays, and I was bringing a few of my college friends to, I think it was like Rosh Hashanah or something. And we wanted to, like, bring a recipe that, like, we made together, like, as, like, an autonomous, like, college students. And one of my friends, like, was already had experience cooking. And I learned from him. We decided to make an eggplant parmesan, kind of, like, ambitious for a first recipe, because there are many steps for that, with breading the eggplant, frying the eggplant, layering it, and the sauce and the cheese. But I've always been an ambitious person, even if I don't know how to do what I'm doing. And I learned, like, it was like 3 cloves of garlic, and I was ready to put 3 heads of garlic in it because I didn't know what a clove was. And my friend was like, whoa, what are you doing? It's only 3 of these pieces. And so I guess it was bizarre that I was almost going to put 3 heads of garlic in it. But then again, like, you can never have too much garlic, is my opinion. But it probably would have overwhelmed the recipe. And it ended up being so delicious. So very rewarding, and got to like come home triumphantly with this exquisite eggplant parmesan that all my friends and I got to make.
Wow. There is something to be said for that first really cool thing you've ever made that actually turns out.
Yeah. I was like really proud of myself.
What about you, Kitty?
Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but to make Peking duck, you need to inflate the duck and insert a bicycle pump between the duck skin and its fat to separate it so that the duck can get the skin can get super crispy. And so again, when I was like embarking on my solo culinary career, this is many years ago, I had just met this Hollywood producer, and she was like, "Oh, we would love for you to come over and teach me and my friends how to make Peking duck." And I'm like, "What?" Okay. So we called my mom, and my mom walked my husband and I through it, like how to do it. You got to tie it up very tightly at the end. You inflate it, you hang it, you pour honey water over it, and it's like a complicated process. So we do it. It seems fine. Everything's fine. So I go to do it, and I didn't tie the end of the duck tightly enough, so that when I'm doing this demo in front of all these like Hollywood people, I start to inflate it, and the duck started farting.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, uh-oh. But then everybody started laughing. So I mean, that probably like it's a bizarre technique, but it's a hilarious outcome.
That's great.
Love it.
I feel like
Well,
that made it
food
more
is
memorable.
entertainment.
It
Works for
is,
me.
and you just got to go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Okay, Babette, you have to follow that story. What you got?
Mine's gonna be short. Mine's gonna probably be like my best moment is when my husband went to the grocery store, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you get some bread for the soup?" And he's like, "No, no, no. Your bread's much better. You just make it." I thought, what? I couldn't believe it. I now I'm like I've unleashed like a bread lover who now he wants like baked homemade bread. But I'm at the same time I'm excited because I'm like, oh, he's telling me I've done a great job. So I really appreciate that. That's actually one of my that's like my favorite moment is when my husband did that. And it just made me feel like you know that it tastes good because you think it's good, but then if he's like, oh, it's delicious, I thought, okay.
Aw.
You know that he's
It's a short story. It's a short story.
Okay, well, let's give people who are tuning in some cooking goals. And now it could be cooking or eating goals. I'm going to let it be guest choice, but what is something that they can do because I think, we've gone off track, but I expected it. It's a food conversation. But in in the theme of when you are in the business of food, it makes all the other parts of your life better. We all need to incorporate more food into our lives. So, with that in mind, boy, that was my longest goal instruction. What goal would you like to gift those who are tuning in so they can feel the love and joy you feel for food and cooking? And Babette, I am going to start with you.
I don't even know how to answer this.
You're welcome.
Are you sure no one else wants to go and give me an example of what you're looking for?
Yeah, you ask hard questions, Deb.
Yeah, why don't you answer it first, Deb? Tell us.
Oh, do you want me to give people? Okay,
Yes.
this is my food and cooking goal. Put away your devices.
What?
And make something.
Yeah, right.
That
That is the AI baking.
Don't listen to her. Don't listen to her.
Well, you asked that. I just remember. Okay, so this was years ago. So your goal guide won the IPPY for silver medal for self-help. The year it came out, or the year after it came out, doesn't matter. Anyway, this was in COVID time, so they kept postponing when they were going to give the list of winners. And it's going to be next week, this week. It is absolutely going to be Friday. And I was just bored of refreshing my phone, and I said, I'm going to make waffles. So I went and I made waffles. I put the phone away. I did all of the things. And wouldn't you know, after I was rewarded by cooking with the announcement that my book had won an award. So I think cooking.
Oh.
Okay, so I will
You bake
rephrase.
bested it.
I will reframe the goal from Deb, which is the next time that you're stressed out waiting for an email, go cook or bake something. Use it as a form of distraction.
That's a great idea. I'll jump in because my
Yay.
last cookbook was global flavor. So I'm going to say try to make a dish from an ethnic cuisine you've never tried before. But don't like freak out because it can be intimidating. You know, just Google or use Babette's app, obviously.
I love how I'm screamed. I'm like,
exactly. Use Babette's app and just say, I'm just making this obviously, but like easy Nigerian recipes. Just, you know what, break it up, try something new because the ingredients, there's no excuse now. Like ingredients for ethnic cuisine are so readily available these days, and it might be something exotic, but it might take less time than what you're used to making. So I say, give it a shot.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe this is a boring one, but my husband and I don't generally cook with salt. I try to be more creative with my spices, and I feel like salt is like an easy way to like make something more flavorful. But I would challenge you to try to cook something, like do it right, cook it like follow that recipe, and don't enhance it with salt. Like try to really like get the flavor out from the thing itself and maybe some other enhancing spices, but not salt. That would be my challenge to you.
Okay. Like it. Babette, we gave you plenty of time.
Okay, let's see. I'm going to think of something really interesting. You know what I would say? I would say find somebody in your life who is from a different part of the country or from originally, or an older person who maybe has an old cookbook that, you know, like they have cutouts of Betty Crocker and they have these old things that they've saved forever, and see if they have a recipe that they absolutely love and then try it. Because there's something about somebody having a recipe for like 45 years in a binder, you know, and they still make it to this day and it still works, just to see like what some of the ingredients were as well, because some of them might be like lard or something else. I mean, you can adjust it for what you need, but it's interesting to see how recipes have evolved as well. So I would say, and it would also connect you to that person too, because now all of a sudden they're telling you something that is important to them, and they may, you know, they open this binder all the time and they don't think anything of it. They're just like, oh, that's the bread recipe I make, but they'll find that great recipe for you, and I think it'll be pretty cool.
Okay, and is the assignment not just to ask about the recipe, but to try the recipe?
Yes, absolutely.
And adapt it.
What you could do, you open your BakeBot and you basically save the recipe to your account, like you, or just to scan it and you can have it walk you through making it as well. But then you can make modifications. Like you could say, I don't like walnuts, I don't like almonds, whatever it is that is there. But if it's handwritten, lots of times some of these old recipes are handwritten too, and you can they can read their writing, but you can't. BakeBot can read it and will actually create the digital version for you. So it doesn't have to be a recipe that's like pristine, or it could be missing. It could be missing something, and they go, "Oh, I throw the stuff together, but here are the ingredients, and I don't know what happened to the directions." But that I think would be really fun to like go in. It's like a treasure, you know. You go into someone else's cookbook and you're like, "What are these things? What did they make?"
Explore someone else's cookbook. I have those recipes. I have a ton of cookbooks. I've got a ton of handwritten ones, and I should see which ones have missing parts and start playing on your website. But and I've got a binder of recipes that I've printed out that I cook regularly adjacent, because I like the piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something about.
Well, you can print too. You can print too.
But there's something.
You just talk to you. It doesn't. You don't even have to even look in the fridge. You can just say, "What do I need to get out of the fridge?"
Oh my God, I love that. I have such a problem with like I'll read the rest, like the ingredients, and then by the time I'm up to the the directions. I'm like, wait, how many of, and I get so overwhelmed, like, wait, how much I have to scroll back. And I'm like, my hands are dirty. And I'm like,
I know, same thing. You'll never have to wash.
Smart.
You'll always wash your hands, but you'll never have to keep rewashing them.
Okay, that's nice.
Hey, thank you for the reminder. The hygiene
I will
cooking
wash my
reminder.
hands eventually.
Well, this has been a really fun diversion, which is what cooking is supposed to be. You know, do the things that bring joy into your life and let that uplift the other parts. And I so appreciate you all for being on today's adventure with me. Where can people learn more about you? Katie?
At Chef Katie Chin on social media, and my website is chefkatiechin.com.
Great. And Jessica?
My website for everything that I do is jessicafishenfeld.com, and my my Instagram and TikTok are both Bagel Queen Jess and Jecca Fish, JECAFISH. That's more of the catch-all. Bagel Queen Jess is specifically for my adventures in bagels. And also youtube.com/bagels and banter. That's where you can find the web series where I go to different bagel shops around LA with a guest from the entertainment world, and we chat about life, career, and bagels.
Awesome. And Babette, where
Jessica,
can people learn more about you?
I want Jessica to take us on a bagel crawl. I am.
You know, we are in LA.
We
It
should
is
so do that. Oh
That's
my
a great
God.
idea.
We need to plan this, actually.
Yeah, please do. I appreciate that. Well, you know, we're gonna get a whole bunch of other people to join us too. They'll just follow us. We'll just like say, "Come and meet us here. This is the
Such a good
map,"
idea.
and then
See,
it'll
this is
show.
when all the brains come together and idea.
I love that.
100%.
So you can find me on LinkedIn if you have like a question or want to connect. But then also, you know, Bakespace.com and BakeBot.ai are the two platforms. But then if you want to follow us like on Instagram, TikTok, Bakespace, and then I also link to our BakeBot account too, so you can check out both. But no, happy to talk to other people in food and coordinate and see if there's a way that we can work together and find other food crawls, Katie, that we can maybe go on. That would be awesome.
Amazing.
Nothing I like better than a conversation that leads to homework and a part 2/sequel. So thank you all so much. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you go to the debmethod.com/blog, you can, how am I going to recap this? You could read the recap and watch the replay and get the goals. And if you need a little bit of extra inspiration for your goals, you can grab a copy of your goal guide for goal setting and goal getting at your favorite place to buy books. And I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, chatting with awesome people. And then you can also subscribe to GoalChat and Taste Buds with Deb and my new book proposal podcast at your favorite podcast platform. All those links in the recap as well. Friends, this has been so much fun. What final thought do you want to leave us with today? And I am going to pick on Jessica first. So, Jessica, final thought?
Final thought is that I'm going to check out my colleagues right here. I need to try some of Katie's food, and I'm going to try the BakeBot. I'm so excited to like pick the brains of people that I meet and incorporate whatever they're doing into my life. So I guess my final thought of inspiration is like, collaborate with people around you.
Awesome. Okay, Babette, final thought. Where are you? There you are.
Final thought. I would say there was a gentleman who was like 90 years old, and in fact, Eric probably said this in his last chat with you, that he couldn't think of like 9 reasons or 10 reasons not to do something. He did it. So with everything you do, if you can't think of at least 10 reasons to not do it, do it. Like do a chat like this, like meet new people, friendships start, and go try new restaurants, go try new recipes. And I think that's really the key, is after this pandemic and kind of everyone's in like a comatose, you know, trying to figure out like what is going on still, you know, we're just go out and forget the last 5 years look forward.
Okay, and you know what? I think he did mention something about that person. I like that. If you can't find 10 reasons not to do something, I guess you have to do it. Katie, final thought.
Well, I always say this. I just like to say, leap and the net will appear for any new experience in your life. Life is short. If not now, then when? And just you just have to go for it. Because what's the worst that could happen?
The worst that could happen is you could meet people, you could discover things that you love, and life will be better. Oh no.
I say that almost every day. If not now, then when? And I say, if not me, then who? My mouth just like dropped when you said that. I was like, that's me.
Right? Same.
Wow. Well, thank you all so much. And for those of you who don't know, unless it's on purpose, my guests do not know each other. They just met literally 2 minutes before we went live today. And this is just proof that, when you know cool people, one of the best gifts is the ability to introduce them to one another. So thank you all for being here today. Thank you for tuning in to this very important topic. You have to do the things that you love, and food is like the center of it. So thank you again, Katie, Jessica, and Babette. Thank you again. Make some food goals, do some cool things, go on out there, go for it, because we know you can do it.